Hi guys, so we are translating equations today. So just like we can translate between languages like English and Spanish or French or German, all those languages, we can translate meanings, right? Um, but math can be written in words or word problems, right? So we can translate those into algebraic equations. Now, some of these problems that you're going to see today, you're going to say, well, I can solve that without an equation. Yes, you probably can, but I want you to get used to thinking algebraically and what it would look like as an equation. Okay, so we're going to go through. I'm going to translate these equations together with you, and then make sure you're keeping notes. So if you have access to a printer, you can print this out, or you can use notebook paper to make your notes. Okay, this is a video, so that's a good thing for you because you can pause. If I go too fast, you can pause, write what you need, play when you're ready to hear me go. Okay, if you have questions, please ask, and we'll try to get through all those technical difficulties. Okay, so you're going to write this down as we go. Make sure you keep track of number one, the equation was, because you're going to have to solve that equation on your homework. And it'll be a lot easier if you keep track of that. Okay. All right. So number one, translation. Last week, Julia ran 30 miles more than Branov. Julia ran 47 miles. How many miles did Branov run? Okay. So if we're starting with our first sentence, Julia ran 30 miles more than Branov. So we're going to need to think of operation words. Okay, so what means add, subtract, multiply, divide? The key word here is more than, right? So more means we're going to add. Okay. So we need to add. What are we adding? Well, the numbers that we see, we need to see if we're adding them, right? So 30 miles more than. This word than means we're going to reverse the order of what we see in the problem. So this 30 was before the plus. The than means I'm going to flip it to after the plus. Okay, so we're going to write a plus 30. So what plus 30? Well, more than what Branov ran, but we don't know that, right? So that's going to be our variable. The variable is just something we don't know. So something that means how many miles Branov ran, let's make it a P for Branov. So it could be X, Y, Z, N, R, doesn't matter. As long as it's a variable, you're writing an equation. Julia ran 47 miles. So that was her total miles she ran, and a total is going to follow an equal sign. So there's our equation for Julia and Branov. And we want to figure out how many miles Branov ran, so you can solve the equation to figure that out. Okay, that will be the answer to one of your homework problems. All right, last week Julia ran 30 miles less than Branov. Julia ran 47 miles. How many miles did Branov run? So this is exactly the same as number one, right? The only difference was this says less than. What does less than mean? Well, less than means a couple things in math, right? Less than could mean less, like subtract. Could mean less than, we have this symbol. Everybody remember that mean? Less than. So in this context, we're going to say, well, subtraction makes more sense, right? And we still have this word than, which is going to flip, right? So 30 miles less than does not mean 30 minus, it means minus 30. Okay. What minus 30? Well, Branov minus 30. We don't know what he ran, so we're going to write that P. And the total that Julia ran was 47, so we're going to write that after equals. Okay, so one little word is going to make a big difference in your solution, and I want you to make sure you see how big of a difference that one word can make. All right, number 3, Lisa's cooking muffins. The recipe calls for 7 cups of sugar. She has already put in 2 cups. How many more cups does she need to put in? Okay, so first number we see is the 7. The recipe calls for 7 cups of sugar. 7 cups of sugar total. So that means it's a total. So it's 7 equals. Okay, and she's already put in 2. She already put in 2. How many more cups does she need to put in? More meant what again? Plus. We don't know how many more, right? How many? So that's our variable. Since it's cups, let's just call it a C. Okay. Now, some of you may have solved this without an equation, and I know you can do that, but get used to thinking of how it would look as a math equation, okay? Because we're going to do this a lot throughout the year. And some of you may have thought, well, I think it's the number of cups plus 2 is equal to 7. And is that the same equation? They're both equal to 7, right? So that's the same. Is 2 plus C the same as C plus 2? Does it matter which order we add in? No, order does not matter when we add. So yes, these are both correct answers, and if you get a different equation than me, that's okay. It may turn out to be the same answer, and you just translated it in a little bit of a different order, which is okay. Okay, so if you get something wrong on your Google form, I will look through all of those, and if they're the same answer, I will correct it and you'll get your credit, okay? All right, so know that things can be translated a little bit differently and it's okay. All right, so number 4, how many packages of diapers can you buy with $40 if one package costs $8? What did I do with it? Okay, so you have $40 total to buy diapers. Okay, so I'm going to write that 40 equals. One package cost $8. So if one package is $8, then I want to translate to each package is $8. And each in math can mean multiply or divide, right? So if we're calculating the cost for diapers, it would be 8 times how many packages for a total cost, right? So we're going to multiply 8 with each package. We don't know what those each packages is, right? So you write P for package, a D for diapers. Pick your variable, it's going to be the same thing. Okay, so there is an equation to translate. And remember, this is the same as 8P equals 40, because we can flip the whole equation around. It's still the same thing. Okay, so know that even though your translation looks different than mine, it might be the same thing. And you will get credit for those on your Google form. So make sure you're able to solve that equation on your homework. All right, at a restaurant, Mike and his 3 friends decided to split the bill evenly. If each person paid $13, what was the total bill? Okay, so Mike and his friends split the bill evenly. There's no numbers in that. There's a 3, right? Okay, so Mike and his 3 friends. Mike and his 3 friends means there's Mike and 3 more people. So that's 4 total people. So the split, they split the bill, which means they divided it between the 4 of them, right? Split the bill. We don't know what the total bill was. That's what they're asking for, right? So that's our variable. Let's call it a B. Our total bill was split evenly or divided by 4, and each person paid $13. Okay, now there are other ways to translate that equation, that word problem to a different equation. If you got a different one, please share. And see if you get the same answer as this equation. All right, so two-step equations. 331 students went on a field trip. 6 buses were filled and 7 students traveled in cars. How many students were in each bus? Okay, so 331 students gives us a number right off the bat. This is a total number of students, right? So we're going to do 331 equals 6 buses. Well, in our question, it says how many students were in each bus, right? So each bus, 6 buses, 6B. And they were completely filled, and we had 7 more students in cars. So 7 more means we're adding 7. All right, so there's your equation to solve, and we're moving on to number 2. Aaliyah had $24 to spend on 7 pencils. After buying them, she had $10. How much did she pay? How much did each pencil cost? Okay, so $24 to spend total, right? $24 to spend meant that's her total budget. So 24 equals. She bought 7 pencils. And we want to know how much each pencil cost, right? So each means I got to pair it with a variable. So 7 pencils, let's call it P. And after buying them, she had $10. So she had 7 pencils and $10, and means plus, for a total of $24. Okay, you bought a magazine for $5 and 4 erasers. You spent a total of $25. Okay, so I bought a magazine. It was $5 and 4 erasers. And means plus. 4 erasers. Well, to find the cost for that erasers, you would do 4 times the cost of the eraser. But we don't know how much it costs. So that's our variable with our number there. Total was $25. So solve that equation. Make sure you note on your homework. Sumali won 40 super bouncy balls playing horseshoes at her school's game last night. Later, she gave 2 to each of her friends. She only has 8 remaining. How many friends does she have? Okay, so she started with 40 bouncy balls. Later, she gave 2 to each of her friends. So she gave it away. She gave it away means we're taking it away, right? 2 to each of her friends. So 2 each means that we're going to pair it with our variable. Let's call it F for friends. And she has 8 total remaining. Okay. All right, Maria bought 7 boxes. A week later, half of all her boxes were destroyed in a fire. Not so good for Maria, is it? There are now only 22 boxes left. Okay, so Maria bought 7 boxes. Well, we got to think, how many boxes did she have? We don't know. That's what we're trying to find, right? So she had boxes. That's our variable. And she bought 7 more. So she added 7 more when she bought them, right? And then fire came. A week later, half of her boxes came. Half means we're going to divide by 2. Okay. And now she has 22 boxes total. Okay, so some of these you're going to have to use implications, knowing what's a total, what's part, what's the right words to use. Okay. All right, so there's one of those tricky ones. Make sure you do the right order, use the right inverse operation in the right order. Make sure you look at your notes from two-step equations if you need extra help too. Okay, last one. Imani spent half of her weekly allowance playing mini golf. To earn more money, her parents let her wash the car for $4. What is her weekly allowance if she ended with $12? Okay, she spent half her weekly allowance. We don't know what her allowance is. That's what we're trying to find, right? So half, here it meant divide by 2, right? So allowance, let's call it A, divided by 2 because it's half. Some of you may say, well, half means this, and that would be okay too. 1/2 of her allowance. A divided by 2 is the same as 1/2 A. Okay, so be careful with those fractions. They can look differently too. Okay. So she spent half her allowance to earn more money. More means we're adding more money, right? She washed a car for $4. What is her weekly allowance if she ended with $12? That's her total, right? So total means we're equaling it out. All right, and now there is your, cover that up, there's your equation to solve. Make sure you're careful with 5 and 6 on which order you solve. Okay, if you guys have questions, please message, comment, remind, Zoom, any way that you can communicate with me, please do, and I'm happy to help. I'll see you later.